is Chloe to Move, Save the Victor Roll. How's everybody doing today? Amazing, I hope. It is another video from the Older Than Average YouTuber here on the YouTubes, and we are back to Mondays by the Decade, and we are in 1960 Part 1. So if you want to see the look that we create, have a teeny chat regarding the 1960s, look at some cool photos, you're in the right place. And you know what you need to do? You need to keep on watching. Hey everybody, it is time for 1960s. So 1960s, you kind of had the change from the kind of 1950s looks into the early 1960s, and then you kind of went kind of glamorous, then you went kind of kooky, and then we headed towards a slightly natural. So I thought I want to play with two different looks. I was thinking for my second one, I want to maybe do kind of more of a Twiggy maybe type look, makeup wise. But I have one picked out that we're going to try to do today that I thought looked kind of cool. So let's just have a little chat of some information that we've picked up here. And this is this information I picked up from vintagedancer.com. So it says here, the youthquake movement of the 1960s had women turning their faces back in time. The doll face look with baby pink lips and exaggerated eyelashes lasted most of the decade. The 60s mod makeup went a step further with outlined eyelids, which I'm going to try that today, double thick fake eyelashes, and drawn on lower eyelashes. Now, I think I might save the drawn on lower and more lashes for my second look, maybe, because I'm going out today, so I don't know if I want to put big lashes on, but I can put a crap ton of mascara on. It says here, bright blue eyeshadow or another color that matched a mod outfit was another option. So now under makeup guide, a powder was a light flesh tone or sun-kissed tan powder or liquid base. So we're going to kind of do both because I always set my face. So we're going to be using the Ordinary Serum Foundation. So it is a light foundation here. I'm going to try to stick to exactly this and not use any other products. I'm not even going to use concealer today, so wow me. And then for powder, I've got this Stay Matte powder. It's a lightweight mattifying. It says it's in transparent, but as you can see, it does have a light little bit of a, you want to call it a flesh tone kind of look to it. So I thought we could use that as the powder. So blush was either a rosy pink or pale peach with warm brown to contour underneath the cheekbones, shimmer shades after 1967. So I think we're going to go to Besame, and even though this shade is based off of a 1915 rose, it is a rosy pink, so I thought we could use this. And there we go. So isn't that a beautiful shade? And this is the only Besame one I have left. I finished the other one that I had, which might have been like a 1910 or 1920 blush that I really liked. Eyeshadow, pinkish white, aqua blue, green, sky blue, brown, heavy shadow on the lid. And we're going to be, because I want to do a turquoisey look, so we are going to be playing yet again, hope nobody's bored, with the Beauty Moon Cosmetics and Wilma Fingerdew. And it says here for liner or mascara, a dark brown or black applied thick. I'm going to use a dark brown liner, but I'm going to use black mascara because I don't have a brown no, a dark brown eyeliner and a black mascara because I don't have a brown mascara at the moment. And like it says here, false lashes are optional. I guess it depends on what time of the 60s that we're looking. Drawn on lashes for some mods like Twiggy. So yes, so this one might be a hybrid look. Maybe this might be a kind of a Twiggy look. We'll see. I'll show you the photo in a second. Lipstick is a peach, berry, or a light pink. Pale, thin lips outlined darker and topped with gloss. Oh, I forgot to grab a gloss, so we'll do that at the end. And then I've got here, this is a Rose Garden. This is from P. Louise, and this is kind of like an orangey red. So I thought that might work. So we will use that. Eyebrows, naturally arched and feathered in the early 50s, very thin and arched in the middle years, and natural bushy in the later hippie years. Brown powder was added to light hair. So now in, so that's like a basic 60s guide. There is an early 1960s makeup guide where it says here, exaggerated cat eye, full red lip continue. Eyebrows will shaped in a subtle peak instead of a high curve. Pink blush was subtle and almost non-existent. Powder again, flesh tone, blush soft pink, eyeshadow white, pink, purple, light blue, aqua. The same thing, eyeliner, dark brown or black. Lipstick was still deep pink to orange red, and then soft peak. So I think maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a more exaggerated 1960s look as my second look. And this one I'm going to have fun with the exaggerated cat eyes. So here, let's just go through some pictures. So it's a little bit of a mess right now. I'm still trying to, after having bleached my hair, as you can tell, it is a little bit, it's soft and nice. It's not fried that way, but it does have a bit of frizz to it. So I will, because I need to get that gloss. So we're going to try and do this look here. So I'm just going to go clean this up a little bit and try and if I can get something to smooth it out and look a little bit nicer. I was originally going to go with this makeup look. So this is kind of a twiggy, easy look. Here you can see a little bit closer where you can see the arch. Then my other idea was to do something like this, to go all out hippie. So maybe I could do that as well in future, because if I'm not going out. And then the look that I think I'm going to do is this one here. So, because I want to try the liner along the top, like the light brown liner along the top, and then a darker liner on the bottom, and then I want to do a bit of that turquoise shade. And then here's a couple other examples. Here's one using the whitish pink shade, and then here's one in a bright blue. So I thought all these looks look a lot of fun, but because I've been kind of changing my hair to try and do some of these styles, and I don't have short hair, so I thought I would try and do that first one. So there we go. So we've got what we've got our plan kind of in place there. So now let's do some makeup. All right, so I don't think this was a thing anywhere in the 60s, but I am going to use a little primer. Like I said, I'm going to be out and about shortly. My friend was going to come over for coffee, but there is a vintage market here. That was yesterday and today, so we may go check that out. And so because we'll be running out of decades, probably June or July if I do them every week. So I was trying to think of other things to do for Mondays by the Decade. And Wilma thought maybe I could do makeup of like, you know, like Marilyn Monroe, Katharine Hepburn, you know, like Mae West, recreate makeup and looks from famous actresses from various times. And I was thinking maybe I can do makeup inspired by, because I don't know if I would look like any of those Hollywood ladies, but I thought that was an idea. So if you think that's a good idea, let me know. Okay, so again, we're gonna do a light skin tony foundation. I really like this one from The Ordinary. It is their serum foundation. I had bought a couple bottles, and then I guess just before they stopped making it, and then as I was finishing up this one, I was like, oh no, it's discontinued. And I don't know, did they hear me? They brought it back, and I got some more. So I really do like this one. But I'm thinking, though, again, I'm not the primer was a definitely not skip, but I'm not going to use any concealer. If I need to, I'll use a little bit extra of this, because my skin is starting to get better. I think some of the age spots are looking a little less. But I was thinking that I might go down just to The Ordinary and to the Danessa Myricks Balm. As long as I can keep my skin in good nick, I think I'm starting to not need so much. And I think also with the lighter here, maybe I don't notice as much if I wear way less makeup. Hey baby! Yeah, how are you doing? My little old lady is having her wanders. So yeah, I guess the toner that they put in is starting to wash out. It is going more blonde like I had originally was hoping it would go, but some of the ends stayed more red, which I didn't mind. So this is going to be an interesting process to see how my hair does here and how the toner is going to go out. Okay, so like I said, I just did a very light coat. Alrighty, so there we go. So of course I'm going to finish with a powder, and then they had also again discussed a flesh type powder. So this is, most of the ones I've been using have been lavender or pink ones. So, but I had gotten this as we did a makeup swap from Canada versus like America for getting some different makeups that we may each other not have. So foundation and powder are finito. So we were looking at, and I don't have to worry about fallout. The Beauty Moon is very excellent. So I'm just going to read again regarding blush, and then I had mentioned something about on the bottom or underneath. So let me go here. So blush. Yes, this is I guess I've used pale peach with warm brown to contour. So I did bring something to contour, but I think we're going to stick to the rosy pink. In the photos regarding blush placement, it definitely seems more like we do it kind of now, more modern, going more higher, not so much near the apples in most of the photos that I'm looking here. It definitely does look more contoury. And then if you look at this one from Twiggy, it's definitely where they did the peachy with some brown, and they did it like that. So I think I'm going to do how, I guess it's been the last little while, how we've all been doing blush, again, more this way, not so much near the apple, though I've been kind of actually liking going back to that look, but you know, here we are. So again, we're going to use the Besame. Yes, this is 1915, but it is a rosy pink. It's more like, I guess, like a raspberry, but I thought, you know, it'd be nice to use some more Besame. Did go through my Besame lipsticks that were still functional, but I guess I could use my Lucy one if I wanted to do a peachy lip, but I just really felt like a orangey red. So let's place, and it was looking like they didn't go past here, so I think that should be far enough. So, and then of course I'm just placing it right now, and then we're going to go and get it, because this is a nice pigmented blush. I think what's going to bring the look together will definitely be the eyes more than the regular lipstick, and then we'll do brows next. And then highlight wasn't discussed, but again, like Marilyn Monroe, usually used a little white, so I'm going to use some of the white out of Wilma's palette for that. So I'm just going to do, again, a nice light pink, and I'm going to do a little bit more towards the edges, which it looks like they did as well, but it was a little bit more intense near the top. Then we can also do a buff at the end. So there we go. So now brow seems to be slightly rounded with a little bit of floof, which I like. So I'm just going to be using a gel. I have been playing with using color in my eyebrows to make it match the hair a little bit more, but I think for today we're just going to leave it. It's been a little bit of a science trying to play with that, but you know, here we are. Yeah, I think other than like the 1920s, 1930s, brows don't seem to have been a big, huge change until like you hit the 90s and early 2000s with these over plucked brows that everybody did. Luckily, I did not fall for that. Probably because I knew I didn't have that many that much brow to begin with, and if I plucked them really thin and they didn't come back, it would be traumatic. So there we go. So we're going to do a bit slightly rounded, slightly floofy brow there, just something very simple. It's going to actually match more up there again. Okay. So now I think we're done okay with that. Now we're going to leave the highlight for now. So they don't talk about eye primer, and I didn't bring any eye primer, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use, which I used to do back in the day with foundations and concealers I didn't like. I would use them for eye primer, so I'm going to do that here. And sometimes that was successful, sometimes it didn't, but I think out of the two, foundations sometimes were a bit better than concealers as an eye primer. There we go. So I can cheat and have a little bit of primer. Alrighty, so we are not doing the brown underneath, so I will show you the shades that I was thinking of, and it was the one, the Ships at Sea. And it's that there. And that looks pretty close, I think. If not, bang on to the one in the photo. Let me take a look. Okay, the one in the photo is slightly more green, but I think this is pretty close. And you see, if you look, we're going to do that. So now doing that, it looks like it's just mostly in the mobile lid. And for, instead of doing a color liner along the bottom, they used, it looks like, the brown along the bottom. So we're going to go into Ships at Sea and grab my mirror. And then we're also going to do, just in the mobile lid, we're going to do this beautiful shade. There you go. See how nicely builds up. I'm going to grab a flat brush and then I'm going to see if I can tap on even more. Yeah, see, there we go. Because the soft floofy brush starts to blend it all in. And then we got it nice and blended, and then we can tap that on. So yeah, it's looking pretty close to that shade in the picture. And of course, it could be the exact same shade because cameras, computer screens can make things look a little bit different. Now I do have hooded eyes, so I may have to bring the liner slightly higher than they have it, or do they have it pretty high? Just say when it comes to styles, 60s and 70s, I kind of skip. I like all styles from basically the Victorian era, Victorian Edwardian era, all the way through to the end of the 1950s. And I'm generally skipping the 1960s and 70s in style, and then I like early 80s again. So again, Wilma, if you're watching this, yes, I keep using this palette, and it does everything that I want it to do. And go Tori. Okay, so there we go. So now I picked it looks like the same thing here because it's nicely soft and blended, that they used a pencil eyeliner. So I have this one from Laura Geller. I had bought, not this Christmas, last Christmas. I got some money from my parents, so I thought I would try Laura Geller. I ended up not being a fan of the eyeshadow and gave it away, but I do like the foundation powder that I got. And these liners aren't too bad. They don't stay in the waterline very well, but for doing nice soft wings and stuff, they were quite nice. And I got them like in like brown, black, purple, bronzy. So I think this one might be good. And then it goes from basically your tear duct right to the edge there. So let's see if we can get that to, alrighty. Yeah, I got that just above. So should not get, there we go. Yeah, you can tell. Straighten the wrinkly eyelid. Alrighty, now let's repeat that on the other side. And then do they soften it? Maybe a smidge? So we'll see. There we go. That is fun. So what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to bring up a little bit more of the green to match the line there. So I'm going to use that thin one that I used to pat. Just fill in anything that it looks like that I may have missed a little bit, so it can, yeah, this one turned out really way straighter than this one, but this was not too bad. So I think what I'm going to do, to balance out a little bit, I may need to thicken that side a little bit. So, all right, there we go. So we have that. I think that's not too bad, hey? And then what they did was, yeah, they did under the lower lash line, and then they did a regular wing onto the lid. So maybe I should get a liquid liner as well. So let's start with this, because the other liner looks way more opaque. So I think a liquid liner might be better. Okay, so I'm going to go grab a liquid liner and then we will do the next line. Liquid liner acquired, so let's do ourselves a wing. So it looks like they go along the lash line. I might be near to the end of this liner. Alrighty, and then they have it just go past here. So, oh, that one turned out really good. Okay, this eye, my right eye is going to be the easy eye. Alrighty. Do have to fix under there a little bit. I thought I got it, but all right. So how are we looking? Yeah, that's the kind of the crap thing about having hooded eyelids. Even though like when I'm drawing on, it's above the thing, my lids go down enough. So I'll have to go like this to see if it's close. So now I'm going to work on straightening this, so I will be back in. So I think that's pretty good there, or what I can do with hooded eyes. So now let's go and do our mascara. So my new thing has been to use 2 different mascaras because this one's starting to get a bit thick, but this one seems to pull the lashes out a little bit. So this is the Lash Princess. Could have brought out, I have 2 different Besame ones, but didn't think about it till right now because there I have a liquid one in a tube, and then I have the one that you wet and put on the cake one. That one I keep trying to blind myself with though, by putting too much water in. But it's always funny, the mascaras get the best just towards their end. Alright, so there we go. Yeah, looking at the picture that I'm using for inspiration, it doesn't look like they have lashes, and if they do, they're very like single ones or something they put in. It just looks like it's got a nice amount of mascara on. So I think we are good with that. So now again for our lips, let's see here, examples. So there's a pale pink. A lot of ones I got here are pale pink. They talk about lined lips, but in none of the photos they looked to be lined, so I'm just going to go with that. Oh yeah, this one is very orangey. Then it says, well, you know, it's not too bad, but then it talked about, and I went and I got that. So let's put on a little gloss. This is a Fenty Gloss Bomb. It's the sheer one. So let's go pop that on top. There we go. That's fun. All right, so let me go try and see if I can make the hair look a little bit better, put in some hoops, and we'll be back. Okay, a teeny bit better. The grooming spray helped a little bit with the frizz. Just popped it up a teeny bit higher, but there we go. Here is our 1960s one. I did talk that I wanted to do a little white highlighter, so I'm just going to use a little bit of Party, and then I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on my normal brush. I'm just going to tap it out lightly on my hand, and then just along the top here, I'm just going to add a little white shadow there, a little bit of shimmer, a little bit, but with a matte, but just a matte white, but just get a little natural highlight. So there we go. We are done. This is my attempt at a kind of mod 1960s look. We'll probably try and build on it on the next look, unless we're going to do the supernatural Twiggy with the fake drawn on lashes. We will see. So anyways, that's it for me today. If you like this video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe even hit that notification bell. If not, that's okay. We can go through the decades together. As always, behave and make good choices, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.